Hey guys, so today we're talking about a movie starring an adventurous young woman and a skilled but troublesome boat captain who are racing against a foreign enemy to their goal while battling with undead Spaniards whose bodies are mixed with their environment due to a curse. Yeah, today we're reviewing Jungle Cruise, a movie that was released by Disney at the end of July. Okay, I know I'm late to the party, really late, but it was a pretty slow week at the cinema and Jungle Cruise was one of the only things showing. So when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. I'm gonna start off by saying that Jungle Cruise wasn't the worst movie in recent memory, but by no means was it the best. It seemed like Jungle Cruise copied Pirates of the Caribbean but was told to change it up a bit so they wouldn't get caught. The resemblance between the two is uncanny, even more so that they're both based on Disney theme park rides. This isn't the main problem of the film though. Very similar ideas can be wildly different sometimes. For example, Megamind and Despicable Me. Both are released within 6 months of each other, both with a plot following a villain who turns good, and both of the main characters have henchmen named Minion. These films are vastly different, however, one following the route of a simple young kids franchise, and the other appealing to a slightly older audience with much more sophistication and complexity. But to do that, a movie has to bring something new to the table, like how Deadpool is a copy of Deathstroke, but Deadpool brings his self-aware comedy and hysterical exploits. Jungle Cruise definitely tried to somewhat distance itself from Pirates of the Caribbean, but nearly all of them fall short, making the movie seem quite bland. One of the ways the film tries to veer off is by changing the characters a bit. Lily, the main character, is quite insufferable for the beginning of the film. For example, she's the kind of rich jerk who goes around releasing monkeys from cages without a thought about the natives who depend on selling them as their livelihood.
If you're homeless, just buy a house.
There's a lasting joke, if you can even call it that, throughout the film where people gawk at the absolute novelty of an early 20th century woman wearing pants. This comes off as a cop-out for actually writing real comedy and absolutely does my head in. Her character is only saved by her interactions with Frank, played by The Rock, as they work very well together on screen. The movie also tends to whine a bit about the injustice of the time, not just with the dim-witted jokes, so be ready for that if you're gonna watch it. I quite like the twist with Frank and the Cursed Conquistadors though. This is one of the parts that I actually enjoyed. Alas, even though they had a good twist, the villains lacked enough meaningful screen time. This was quite devastating to this film especially because of the multiple antagonists. Regardless, Prince Joachim, the German prince played by Jesse Plemons, managed to steal the spotlight in my opinion. He was much funnier than any other character and only rivaled by the jokes told by Frank. A very important sector where Jungle Cruise fell flat is the soundtrack. If you're gonna be a carbon copy of Pirates of the Caribbean, you should at least make an effort to come up with an original theme, even half as good as the legendary He's a Pirate score. Instead, they had a pretty weak soundtrack except for the instrumental of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica, that was used surprisingly well. However, a staple tune can do wonders to a movie. The CGI is also pretty poor. It seems to fall into the category of animation that just seems ill-suited to its situation. This doesn't necessarily mean that animations are worse quality, but it's just unfit for its circumstances. Like a Bugatti is an extremely high-end supercar, but it would be useless in a boat race. An example in film would be the difference between Pacific Rim 1 and Pacific Rim Uprising. The former had lower quality animations because it was made 5 years prior to the latter, but the visuals in Pacific Rim 1 absolutely eclipse Pacific Rim Uprising by a factor of 10. This is because Pacific Rim 1 stuck to its realistic and dark theme, while Pacific Rim Uprising rested on a more cartoony and Power Ranger-like style that just did not fit the franchise. The Amazonian background and the animals in Jungle Cruise just seem way too plasticky, and fall into the uncanny valley of special effects. It's not a colossal problem, but it's an issue nonetheless. Though the film falls short in many different facets, it's not bad enough to completely avoid. It feels like a filler episode in a series where nothing important happens, and its only purpose is to bide some time. So I wouldn't recommend watching this if you have anything better to do, but if you're looking for an unremarkable film to pass the time until something interesting happens in your life, Jungle Cruise is for you.